In today's video, let's discuss the conspiracy about Dulce, New Mexico. And if you're thinking, what is so exciting about Dulce, New Mexico? Well, there could be a secret underground base harboring aliens and alien/human hybrid experiments. Hello and welcome to or welcome back to my channel. If you don't know what is going on here, I am a horror artist that likes to draw what I talk about in each video. Now, nothing in these videos are meant to be insensitive to anyone involved or anyone that I mention, and the information that is in this video is what I have researched, so don't shoot the messenger. Feel free to have your say in the comments, but don't be a dick about it. Now, I will be accountable for my art, but if you are a sensitive person, I recommend that you leave right now because you're probably not going to be happy with what I draw. And you've been warned, and I do not want to hear anyone whinge. So before I get into the guts of the video and the conspiracy, let's find out a little bit about Dulce. Dulce is a census-designed place in the Rio Arriba County, New Mexico. Now, I had to look into what a census-designed place is, and it's a place where it is designed for statistical purposes, collecting data and that sort of stuff, and is an unincorporated community that is run locally, but shares the value of a government-run town or city, which in my opinion is probably run better than it would be in a government. It only has a population of roughly less than 3,000 people and is only 33 kilometers squared. Most of the population is Native Americans, but this little town has had some unspeakable horrors regarding technology and other frightening experiments, and it's all hidden underground. Allegedly. It's also where the headquarters of the Jacarilla Apache Reservation is, and draws large amounts of tourists and ufologists, which attend the Dulce Base UFO conference each year. Now let's go headfirst into the conspiracies. If you ask any conspiracy theorist, Dulce has a 7-story subterranean base underneath the ground that is home to alien human, human animal, and alien animal hybrids with massive leaps in bounds in sophisticated technology. The underground base has even seen one of the most controversial alien wars, resulting in a lot of maiming and deaths. This place is known as the Dulce Base. Weird things have been happening since the 1930s, but Dulce only started making headwaves in the 1970s about the alien bases. Mutilated cattle have been found with surgical precision, as told by New Mexico State Trooper Gabriel Valdez, who reported them after being highly disturbed by them. Valdez claimed that he had even seen a mutilated cow with a fetus in its stomach, but the fetus wasn't a calf. Valdez described it as a human-monkey-frog hybrid. He also witnessed a black, highly technological spacecraft near where the Dulce base is apparently located, and gas masks and glow sticks were just lying around the fields where the cattle were mutilated, and he came to the conclusion that the government must have been involved, but why the hell would they leave so much evidence laying around? In the 1980s, the Colorado-New Mexico border became a hotspot for cattle mutilations. A man named Paul Benowitz, who was a physicist in Albuquerque, said he allegedly found and intercepted electronic signals coming from deep underground Dulce in 1979. In 1982, he then declared that there was and had to be an underground facility. He then wrote an essay in 1988 called Project Beta about how to get into the facility. In 1990, a man called John Lear claimed to have credible evidence from 4 people, including a pilot, a government worker, and the son of an inventor, that describes different alien species that are here and in the underground facility under the Archuleta Mesa near Dulce. There are claims that the 7-story or floors get more hellish as they descend into the ground. Experiments such as mind control on humans, genetic experiments, and certain species have their own flaws, such as the reptilians and the greys. The screams apparently can be heard throughout the floor's hallways, and even certain aliens are experimenting on humans and vice versa as the floors go down. Apparently floor 6 is the nightmare floor. This floor is filled with screams from human victims that are kept in cages and experimented on. It's also only one of 131 secret bases around the US and 1,477 around the world. The US bases are connected via a Mach II train system, nothing like what is on the surface, as we don't have that technology. Allegedly. The most well-known story of the Dulce base was told by a government employee and explosive expert called Phil Schneider. He claimed he had been involved in the construction of the Dulce base. Schneider had high security clearance and was able to witness the alien war underground in 1979, which left 60 human agents dead. Schneider had claimed that he had shot and killed 2 aliens. He goes on to say that the underground base is 5 kilometers deep and houses a lot of aliens. This resulted in a war against aliens and humans. Schneider was apparently part of the Black Project, a $50 to $80 billion per year budget that covered the running costs and construction of the facility, and he was responsible for checking the rock to see how to break it down with explosives. When the war broke out, Schneider said he shot 2 aliens after first encountering a 7-foot grey alien. Schneider said he was shot in the chest by a weapon that the alien carried. The weapon then shot out electrical-like balls that shot off his fingers, and also he suffered radiation poisoning, burns, and he ended up getting cancer. His toenails were burnt off and his foot was singed. The blast from the alien's weapon opened him up in the chest, in his own words, like a fish. Schneider was saved by a fellow Green Beret that later died, and only 3 survived the battle, including Schneider himself. Schneider wanted all the experiments disclosed to the public, so he decided to speak out about the encounter, and about what his father, Oscar Schneider, had told him as well about the government experiments, and what Oscar was also involved in. Schneider wanted the government to be more transparent and stop hiding things that could threaten people's very existence. Schneider also believed that there was a secret plan about the Third World Order, which involved enslaving the human race on Earth. Think about Project Bluebeam, which I covered in a past video, and also what the WEF is trying to implement now, which I will try to cover in a future video when I get brave enough and I also get enough information about that particular topic. In May 1995, Schneider gave a lecture about the corruption that the government has been involved in and all the alien beings found in the Dulce base. Just 7 months later, in 1996, after he came out and talked about his experiences, he apparently died via suicide. He was found in his apartment sitting in a wheelchair with clear piping or surgical tubing around his neck, allegedly. I personally don't think he committed suicide. I personally think he was murdered, especially after watching the story on the TV show Unsealed. You pay the price for revealing information like this, and that in itself, to me, is just wrong. We seem to be living in a world where the truth is bad and lying is good. And quite frankly, I've had enough of this bullshit, really. I will have a link to Phil's video in the description if you are interested in watching it. If I can actually find the video, it is quite hard to find the full video on Phil doing his lectures and telling us what he went through. I will have a link to a guy's YouTube channel called Rooted Expeditions. He actually talks about the video as well. And he also, I'm pretty sure, shows the whole clip in sections. You will see that particular interview and that particular speech with Phil Schneider, and he explains what he went through. Personally, I believe that the story is 100% true. I don't think that Phil Schneider had anything to gain, other than money, but I don't think he sort of had really, it was a huge risk. It was a huge risk for him to come out, and yeah, he could have got money from it, but you pay a huge price for revealing this kind of information, and he probably knew that eventually it was going to catch up with him and he was going to get killed. So really, he had nothing to really gain other than get this story out and let everybody know, because he wouldn't have enjoyed the money anyway, because they were going to get him. He also told people around him that if he apparently quote unquote committed suicide, that it wasn't him that killed himself, because he said he would never harm himself. You got to remember, he had a lot of knowledge on secret, deep underground facilities, and plus his father's best friend also died in weird circumstances, so he felt the need to come out and tell everyone everything. His father, Oscar Schneider, worked on the Philadelphia experiment with his best friend, Ron Remiel. Schneider was working on the manuscript, blowing all the secrets out of the water, and it was ready to be published, basically, just before he died, even revealing that they were even going to kidnap his own daughter. He spent the last 2 years of his life touring the US, telling people of his secrets and knowing very well that he was not allowed to tell the public all the secrets. All his friends were murdered in the last 22 years of his life that were all ruled suspicious suicides. Come on, government, you've got to be coming up with some more new ways to kill people other than the old, suicides or being hit by a car, because that seems to be the only two methods that they choose to use, and it's starting to get a little bit obvious. There has been no shortage of stories and eyewitness accounts of weird and strange occurrences in Dulce. People who live there seem to be immune to the occurrences, such as saying things like, well, there's nothing new, and everyone has seen something sooner or later. People have been seeing UFOs there since the 60s. Okay, so the illustration that I decided to do for this video today was the scenario of Phil Schneider and the way he was told that he died. So I decided to recreate the scene from that and stick a man that's not in any way, shape or form resembling Phil Schneider. This is just a sort of a different sort of character scenario. And he's sitting in his wheelchair, but mind you, I tell you what, I struggled with doing the wheelchair. That wheelchair that I did, just don't stare at it because it will probably curse your brain. I honestly I struggled to do a front-on view of a wheelchair. So it looks like shit. But anyway, I digress. So this man is sitting in this wheelchair and he knows very well that they are after him, and he has an axe in his hand. He's already killed somebody, so there's already been a struggle in there, and yeah, they now have sent in an alien, and the alien is going to try and finish him off, but little does this alien know that he's waiting for him, and he is going to deal with this alien in the best way he knows how, and that's to kill it. So even the man sitting in the wheelchair, I have sort of made like a human hybrid as well, and yeah, there's this just alien coming out to basically finish him off, but this dude in the wheelchair is ready. And I also had to include the description of the clear tube, the clear piping that was apparently around Phil Schneider's neck when they found him. So I had to include that in the pictures to sort of symbolize that they tried to get to this particular dude in the wheelchair, but they didn't succeed. So yeah, he ended up getting them, and they weren't able to strangle him with the clear tubing, and that's why they've sent the alien in afterwards to try and finish him off. But the aliens come in, and he's just waiting patiently to deal with this last entity that's supposedly going to finish him off. But you can sort of draw your own conclusions from this illustration. What do you think is going to happen? Use your imagination, that's what I like to do. So anyway, what are your thoughts on Dulce, New Mexico? Do you think that there is something there? Do you think that there is an underground base? Do you think that a lot of this has been majorly covered up? Do you think that, it's all true? All the conspiracies are true for this particular area? most of the time I like to sit on the fence with these, and I like to get everyone to sort of give their opinions and whatnot. But in my opinion, I like, after hearing and researching some of this, I personally think there is something there, and I do believe Phil Schneider's story. Like, I do believe that he went through what he went through. But let me know your thoughts. Let me know, do you know someone who lives there? Have you been there? Have you had experiences yourself? Let me know in the comments below if you've had first world experiences with this location in this area, because like I have said in the past, I've only got the internet to go on and what I read on sites, and I try to sift through the knowledge and the information the best that I can. But anyway, I am out of here. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. Hopefully you enjoyed the art that went along with this. And hopefully you watch the rest of whatever is left of this video. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!